cares about separating CO2 from nitrogen. Okay? Second quarter, for instance. Now everyone is interested in separating isobutane from normal butane. All right? Then all you have to do is basically, hey, just change the temperature. You don't have to change. You don't have to discard these expensive membranes. Okay? The other interesting possibility is that a stacked modular type, distillation tower type, okay, membrane module, where each stage is operating at different temperature. Okay? So you can actually separate a series of gas molecules with different size continuously. Okay? Again, this type of membranes are not possible currently. Okay? So it could be potentially very exciting in terms of membranes. Now, the way we synthesize these membranes, we take generally two approaches. One is so-called in situ growth, and then the other one is secondary growth. In situ growth, you take a support, and you have a precursor solution, okay, and you put the support into the precursor solution, and you cook them. Okay, you increase temperature and you wait. Okay, you time it, one day, take it out and wash, okay? Hoping that the crystal is growing from the surface. Okay? This is a one-step process. However, it requires nucleation support. And nucleation means, something. In order to grow the crystal, you have to go through nucleation and the growth. Okay? Now, in general, especially in MOPs, this so-called heterogeneous nucleation is not preferred. Okay? So generally, you have to do something on the surface so that crystal can grow on the surface. Secondary growth is you now synthesize MOF, say nanocrystals first in powder form, and then you sprinkle these nanocrystals and you anchor them on the surface using polymer binders, for instance. And then you take this seed support and put it into the precursor solution and grow these crystals. Okay? In this case, now you don't have to have a nucleation on the surface because you already have crystals already. Okay? So this is like a nursery, right? When you go to, when you buy plants, when you want to, right? You go to a nursery and you have small little plants and it will grow, as opposed to starting with the seed. In general, this gives us a better control over membrane microstructure and less dependent on support properties. And we are working on both techniques depending on the MOPs and support properties. Again, it turns out that growing MOP films is much more challenging as compared to films of other framework, oxide-based framework materials like zeolites. So, I'm not going to go into detail, but the message is new methods need to be developed. Okay, so we developed two types of methods in order to grow this type of materials using secondary growth. One is microwave, and the other was thermal seeding. I'm not going to go into detail, but let me just talk a little bit about this technique, which is kind of exciting. You take the support and you basically put the graphite, okay, or you sputter carbon, for instance, or sputter, say, thin layer of conductive layer, say metal. Okay. Now you take this and put it into the precursor solution and you shine the microwave. Now what happens is that you have conductive surface, very thin conductive surface, by the way. This conductive surface will be selectively heated. Why? Because you have electrons. Electron will interact with electromagnetic waves, microwaves, and then bump into the phonons, and it just gives that's basically Joule heating. Okay? So if you have a very high temperature, instantaneous high temperature on the localized surface, then you will have a formation of MOP crystals instantaneously. Okay? So you take this, you're talking about seconds, okay, several seconds, and we take this and we use this as a seeded support, and we grow the membranes. Okay, and this is the membrane look like. Okay, this top view. Not gonna go into it. Okay, so the other technique that we've been developing is thermal modification. Okay, with metals or ligands. Okay, in this case we take alpha alumina. In this case again the support, polar support, and we heat up the support, and we deposit these ligands. Now these ligands are going to be anchored on the surface, and after we modify the surface, and then we start growing the films. So this is working fine, and this is basically a MEMS membrane that we have grown using the technique that we have developed that I just shown you in the previous slide. And again, this is I have about 2.2 centimeter polymer disc, and these are pores, 200 nanometer, and then we grow the films on the surface of pores support. Okay, in this case, thickness is about 10 micrometer. Now, the problem that we had, this is as synthesized film, it's beautiful, it looks good, but then as soon as we activate, we have a lot of cracks and defects. So what happens is that these, when you synthesize the material, okay, the pores are filled with organic solvent. Okay, if the pores are filled, if the sponge is filled with water in the first place, okay, then you don't have capability to absorb more water, right? So you basically remove the water from sponge, then you can actually absorb more water. So that's we call activation process. You have to activate the material. We have a lot of cracks. This is because these MEMS are based on graphite structure, and layer structure, which means the interaction between the layers are not as strong. So when solvent is evaporating from the pores, it contracts. Okay, so that puts stress, and that creates cracks. And then my student came up with basically an idea. Take a look at the solid gel chemistry literature. In order to prevent the crack, what they're doing is they add surfactant. Okay, so what the surfactant does is surfactant will reduce the surface tension. So it turns out that the formation of crack is inversely proportional to the evaporation rate. So if you evaporate solvent very slowly, and then the crack formation will be minimized. Proportional, and also inversely proportional to the surface tension as well. Okay, so by adding surfactant, we were able to minimize the crack formation. But still, this is basically showing that we don't have macroscopic cracks. Without going into detail, and we did the measurement, gas formation measurement, but membrane performance was not that good. Okay, so I'm not going to show you the performance. The reason is because this is still fourth generation membrane, which means the pores are too big. Okay, because the measurement has been done at room temperature. Now, you may ask, what if we do the measurement at lower temperature? And the problem is that if you start lowering the temperature, then we have gaskets, okay, which is basically made out of O-rings and polymers, and the elastic property of polymer will be compromised. So it turns out that it's not that easy. Okay? But anyway, so now let me spend in a couple of minutes, okay, before I finish my talk here, is a new technique that we are developing right now. Okay, if you take a look at the, say, zeolite membranes, okay, have been around for long. Okay, zeolites is also sponge, but in zeolites we have a, say, metal oxide sponge. The problem is that basically cost. Okay, still this is $4,000 per square meter as compared to polymer membrane. Polymer membrane is about $20 per square meter. The reason is because bad process and difficult to scale up, expensive supports, and other reasons. So now, what if we can deposit or grow the films instead of growing the crystals? Okay, what if we can develop a coating-like, spray coating-like processes? Okay, that would be lovely. And in fact, we were able to demonstrate that process is possible. That the idea is we hit the support up, and then we drop the precursor solution. Now, the chemistry of this material is rather different from covalent chemistry. It's coordination chemistry. So more like a solid chemistry. So it's more labile, which means reaction can happen at low temperature and mild condition. Okay? So we are very excited about the possibility that we can actually make, if one day, if we want to commercialize these membranes, then we have ability to do that. Okay, again, this work is just got funded from NSF, so we're excited about this possibility. Okay. Summary. Okay. Climate change is real. Okay. Stimuli responsive MOPs offer unprecedented opportunities for post-combustion CO2 capture. Thermally, optically responsive MOPs have been synthesized along with other type of MOPs. Polycrystalline cell MOPs membranes have been synthesized, and we also have developed a promising technology for large-scale production of membranes. We're still developing, also not developed. Okay, so any questions? This is Newton's first law. Okay.
That's awesome.
A grad student in procrastination tends to stay in procrastination unless an external force is applied to it. What is this external force? Advisor. Correct? Second law. Okay, the age A of a doctoral process is directly proportional to the flexibility F given by the advisor, and inversely proportional to the student's motivation M. Okay, you can be here for 10 years if your motivation is low, or if your advisor gives you infinite flexibility. Okay. Third law. For every action towards graduation, there is an equal and opposite destruction. Something always happens, right? Something always happens. So you always have excuse. Okay, any questions?
Could you go back to the three, it's very early in your presentation, there's a picture of the three methods, I guess the post, the pre, and the
absolutely,
oxy.
absolutely.
So you're talking about the CO2 capture box in the post combustion.
Yes.
What you're putting into that.
Yeah.
And I got a little confused. Are you working on materials both in the membrane and in the?
The major emphasis is developing materials.
Materials, yes.
Okay, so now if you develop this material, there are two ways to use this material.
Okay.
Okay. One obvious way is to use these materials as adsorbents, powders. Okay. That's one obvious application. And the second possibility is that, maybe we can make films of these materials and use these films as membranes.
Okay. I see.
Okay.
And the major difference there between the post and the pre,
Mm-hmm.
is that really just a change between oxygen going in?
Not
the field?
really. Oxygen, and you have gasifier here. Okay, so basically you make syngas.
Okay, you're making syngas beforehand.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you're burning syngas in the water.
Syngas. Yeah. Because after you capture CO2, syngas is basically nothing but the hydrogen. Okay, and the CO. And if you do the water gas shift reaction, then you will have hydrogen and the CO2. Okay? So now imagine you have only hydrogen and CO2. Then CO2 can be more easily captured as compared to the post-combustion capture because we have more CO2. Okay? The second, now after you capture CO2, you only have hydrogen. You burn hydrogen. So you ended up getting water. Nothing but the water. Okay? Again, this is the plant that FutureGen. Have you heard of FutureGen project?
IGCC stuff?
IGCC stuff. This is IGCC.
Oh, that's IGCC?
Yes, FutureGen, right? I believe Texas, one of the town in Texas